Welcome, guys, to Quantum Procrastination. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about procrastination and we're going to be looking at procrastination from a quantum perspective. Okay, so it's going to be very aligned, it's going to be very focused, hopefully, not very overwhelming. And yeah, so get ready. I would like to play my singing bowl just a few seconds to help ground. So I invite you to close your eyes if you can. Just get comfortable. Allow yourself to take a few deep breaths. You can make a sound with the exhale. You can allow tension to go away with every exhale. I invite you to connect with your intention about why you are here. Why did you feel inspired, motivated, excited to be in this session? And I would like you to connect with the idea of procrastination. When I say the word procrastination, just notice what comes up for you. How do you feel? What's the meaning of that word for you? How does it make you feel? Do you feel lighter? Do you feel heavier? Any other emotions that show up for you? And without needing to do anything with that, just observing it. Just being present with it. Just being curious about it. And take a deep breath. And you can open your eyes. Just come back to the session. Yeah, and I will be curious if you are willing to share what you noticed. How do you define procrastination and what's associated with that word? How does that word make you feel in your body, physically? And if you want to share what was the intention for you for being here, maybe it's a specific area of your life that you notice that you're procrastinating on. Maybe it's curiosity, maybe it's another reason. So feel free to share anything that came up for you if you want. I definitely feel a little heavier with the term procrastination. Like there is a bit of self-critical and judgment. Yeah. Beta Brooke, yeah. Self-judgment, yeah, self-critical judgment. So there is heaviness in the word, right? Anita says procrastination is a blockage inside me. It hurts. Yeah, it hurts. So it doesn't feel great to feel that way, does it? Yeah, sometimes I spend more time thinking about doing the task than it would take to actually do the task. Yeah, Patrick, I'm guilty too of that. So many times I spend way more time thinking about it than actually taking action on it. And sometimes when I allow myself to take action, sometimes it takes way less time than what I thought. But there was a lot of emotional storytelling in my head, lots of fear. So it's interesting to be aware of that. And again, we are not doing this to kind of put ourselves down. We're just being curious because we are going to look at this from a quantum perspective. And I think you're going to feel lighter when we define it from that lens. Lorette says procrastination is part of the freeze response in the nervous system, dysregulation. Yeah, Lorette, beautiful. Yeah, that is so true. When we are procrastinating, sometimes that is an actual nervous system reaction that we are feeling fear, we are feeling confusion, we are feeling something very emotionally charged that we need to pause. We need to pause because it's just not safe to keep going, or we don't have the capacity to keep going. So sometimes procrastination helps us protect ourselves by creating a pause, by creating some time, some space. The problem is when that happens every single time that you try to do something that you truly want to do. So I try to regulate my nervous system. Yeah, Lorette, that's beautiful. For me, it is overwhelm. Yeah, the feeling of overwhelm is another reason why sometimes we don't take action, because we are overwhelmed. Our system is collapsing, right? It's just saturated. And then there is confusion and there is no clarity. And that's why we get in this free state, and that's why we choose not to do it. That's why sometimes perfectionism kicks in, and we spend way more time thinking about it than actually taking steps toward it. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for sharing all these things. Tom says, attempting to have more compassion around my procrastination. I know that there is a connection between ADHD and procrastination, so it's important to be more caring toward myself and not so ashamed. Yeah, Tom, that's a really good approach. The idea is not to feel ashamed. The idea is to be curious, to be open to exploring, and then to be willing to be present with what's coming up. Okay? Yeah, amazing. So thank you so much for sharing all these things. Beautiful. Yeah. So I want to share first that there is a lot of meaning behind the word of procrastination that I will invite everybody to kind of become aware of, and then kind of give it less weight to it. Because I hear so many labels, right? You are being lazy, you are incapable, you are not adequate, you are not showing up. There are so many negative words associated with procrastination, and sometimes we hear those words and people tell us those words, and we tell ourselves those words. We are very self-critical. So the first step is to really understand that from a quantum perspective, procrastination is a signal. It is an energetic signal that there is something out of alignment. Okay? So from a quantum lens, procrastination is a misalignment between intention, between energy, between your nervous system, identity, what you believe, who you believe you are, and what that task means to you. So a lot of meaning and the energetic behind that meaning that you are giving it. And so many other times it's also timing. Sometimes timing is just not the right timing from a quantum perspective for us to force something to happen. Sometimes we are forcing something to be a specific way, and it's just not supposed to be that way. And sometimes procrastination can be a sign for that. So that's many times we are procrastinating because a part of ourselves is trying to protect us. And what I mean by this is that sometimes we are trying to do something and there is fear. So there is a reason why, emotionally speaking, our nervous system believes that if we were to do that thing, something bad is going to happen. And when I say something bad, sometimes it's just unknown. Sometimes the fear is of the unknown. I don't know what's going to happen if I do this thing. I don't know if people are going to like it, and that feels uncomfortable enough for me to try to protect myself, and I don't do it. Sometimes I don't think I'm intelligent enough to do this. I don't think I will succeed at doing this. So there is that fear of rejection. There is that fear of failing. And then we just choose not to do it. A part of us is conflicted with our intention because a part of you wants to do it. A part of you may feel that that's important and that feels aligned with who I am, who I want to be. But then there is a part of us, a part of me, a part of you that it's afraid. A part of you that doesn't want to fail. A part of you that is really afraid of the unknown. Really afraid of, I don't know what, I have never done this before, so it's just too risky. So yeah, there is a lot in here that can happen, and nervous system regulation is very important because when that's happening, how regulated are we in those moments, right? Just think about that. If we are energetically misaligned, if maybe the timing is not the right one, if maybe we are not listening to our intuition, if maybe we are trying to force something, if maybe there is a meaning, a framing that we are using on what that's going to mean if we were to do that, and it is negative and it is something that is going to be bad for us, of course, that part of you is going to prevent you from doing that. And that's when becoming curious is so important. And that's when emotional self-regulation is so important. Because when we are emotionally self-regulating, we are becoming more coherent. We are becoming more harmonious. We are detaching and becoming the observer. And when we can observe and we can have more clarity, then we can make a more aligned choice. We can feel with our intuition what feels right. That's the next step. And then we will become better at discerning when the procrastination is misalignment, not the right timing, and when the procrastination is showing us something that we need to work through, showing us something that we can process, showing us something that we are ready to get curious about and to maybe heal, realign, transform. You can use whatever word feels good to you, but basically something that is blocking you, it will become information that is going to help you understand that blockage, and it's going to help you move through that blockage so that that procrastination kind of disappears, or it becomes clear why it is there. So yeah, let me see what you guys think about these things. Yeah, so BD says, I call it intuitive procrastination. I think procrastination is a social construct. Yeah, BD, that's why, divine timing in all things always. Yeah, BD, that's why it's so important to learn how to discern from those two kinds of procrastination. Okay? And that's why it's so important to really remove the weight of that word and to use different words to define the same thing. But words that maybe are not so kind of dense with how much meaning it has, right? So then from a traditional point of view, procrastination can be poor time management, can be described as lack of motivation, can be described as weak willpower. You need better habits, you need more discipline, you need more pressure, you need a deadline, so it's always like kind of like there is something wrong with me, right? I'm doing something wrong. And that's why from this kind of lens, no one wants to be a procrastinator. No one wants procrastination in their lives because it's a very negative word. But from a quantum point of view, when procrastination is happening, so there is the energy is fragmented or is conflicted. Okay, it's just confusing. The energy is not coherent. There is not an intentional direction that is aligned with you and your energy at the right timing. There is something off. Okay, so the nervous system perceives threat or overload. So your nervous system is perceiving something that is not logical, that is making you procrastinate. maybe the task is out of alignment with your values, with the identity that you think you have or who you are. Sometimes it's out of alignment about the timing. It's just not supposed to happen right now. And we intellectually cannot know that. But our higher self, our energetic body, knows that. But it's a different kind of knowing. That's why it's so important, because I really like what BD said, intuitive procrastination. It's really important to kind of use your executive functioning skills to be in this dimensional space-time kind of world that we're living in, kind of the traditional way. But it's also important for you to nurture that energetic aspect, that quantum aspect, that is energy, it's intuition, it's alignment, it's embodiment, it's self-regulation. And then when you can bring both, that's when you are going to start noticing, oh wow, this is procrastination because of this and that. Oh, this is actually a good procrastination because I am not supposed to be doing this right now, or this is not the task that aligns with me right now. So you can start discerning when procrastination is due to fear, an emotional reaction to something, or when procrastination is just misalignment, energetic misalignment. Yeah, Patrick says, incubation mode, I will start the task when my energy is aligned. Yeah, that's a really good strategy, and we'll discuss some kind of strategies to quantum strategies to use when we are feeling this way. But yeah, sometimes our energy levels throughout the day, it changes, right? And sometimes we may have the right energy for doing maybe a mental task. Sometimes we may have the right energy for doing a physical task. Sometimes for doing a social task. Sometimes we may not. So understanding your energy levels throughout the day and understanding where you are right now by being attuned to yourself can help you decide, well, right now I am feeling this kind of energy in myself, so I think it's best intuitively to do this task rather than this. And of course you can do work to change your energy. Of course you can ground yourself. Of course you can learn how to consciously change what you are embodying so that you can do a task when you feel like it. But there are many components to that. And sometimes it's just easier to be intuitive and see what feels best in that moment rather than trying to analytically take into account all the concepts from an intellectual mind. So yeah, I really like that incubation mode that you say, Patrick. It's different depending whether I like the task or not. Yeah, and sometimes, Patrick, sometimes we like the task, sometimes we don't like the task. Sometimes a task is exciting and sometimes it's not. And from a quantum perspective, excitement means a sign that that's something that you're supposed to be doing. So if we start living our lives from excitement rather than from fear, all of a sudden everything will start flowing effortlessly, and then we won't have to push or force or become something that we are not supposed to in that moment. We just keep going with what feels aligned, with what feels exciting in every moment, and then things will get done, or things will be delegated, or you will say no, and everything will become more effortless for you if you can do that. But how many times we don't allow ourselves to do that? How many times we don't say no to things? How many times we don't have the clarity yet to know what is it that we want to do and why? And we are in that process of discovery. And that's why there has to be a balance between our physical kind of intellectual way of doing things with our energetic, intuitive, vibrational way of doing things. I have been procrastinating a task for weeks. Every day becomes heavier, and it is something related to work. So people can understand I am not profess. Yeah, so Anita, my invitation for you, I am not professional. Yeah. So when that happens, again, Anita, this is a very good, from a quantum perspective, you can use this information to, instead of putting yourself down, instead of telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you are dropping the ball, that you are whatever, you can try and become curious. Why is this happening? Is there anything that I can change to be more aligned with this task? Is this task really important? Is this something that I truly need to do? And then ask for guidance, ask for signs, be open to receiving information through your intuition of next steps. And then when a possible next step shows up, take action, full action, as much as you can, and then let it go. And then it's kind of that dance of taking aligned action, but then don't be attached to the outcome. That's how the quantum world works, right? If you are attached to a specific outcome, you are trying to control, and that's when maybe you are procrastinating things because they are just not aligned. But if you can truly let go after you have taken action, and then when an opportunity arises, you take action and then you let go, and then you take action and then you let go, it's kind of like the path is unfolding in front of you, and you don't need to know every step and how it's going to look like, but you are going to be present enough to discern that sign, that opportunity, and then to notice by feeling, wow, that feels good, I'm going to take action. That one feels good, I'm going to take action. But you are doing that from a place of detachment, from a place of observation, and from a place of really attuning to yourself and feeling. You breathe, you are present, and then you look at the opportunities, and then you sense which one feels right for you. And again, this is not logical. That's why sometimes it's very difficult to explain. That's why so many times I don't try to explain what I'm doing. So many times I don't try to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I don't even know why. But sometimes it just feels right. And even though logically it doesn't, but intuitively it does. So I try to take action, and I try to be detached. And then sometimes it goes nowhere, but then I'm not attached, so I'm not disappointed. I try not to, because I understand that it's happening for a reason. But some other times I sense that, wow, this is starting to flow, and it feels really exciting. So I will just go down that kind of exciting kind of journey until it ends, until it transforms into something different. But yeah, it's okay sometimes to procrastinate. And it's information that we can use to help us in our journey. So Lorette says, Emilio, what about the issue of continuous avoidance or distance, say to keeping in good health, like better sleep, more movement, and eating more in resonance? Yeah, Lorette, so this is where accountability really comes into place, right? Because when something is happening, like in my own life, sometimes I'm trying to do things, and sometimes starting those things feel like pulling teeth. And sometimes I truly don't know, is this me forcing this, or is this me pushing through discomfort and emotional resistance, or is this me being lazy? I don't want to do this. So like I try to really understand, why am I not doing what I thought I wanted? And I think when you can be curious and allow yourself to keep showing up and keep being present with what's happening, and just pick one thing and then focus on that, and every day you observe, wow, I'm trying to eat better, but I find myself not doing it, or I find myself, I don't know, whatever you are doing, and then just be curious, why am I doing this? Is there an emotional resistance to this? Is this misaligned with the person I think I should be being? Something will show up. I promise you that if you are open and you meditate and you self-regulate, you become the observer, something is going to show up that is going to give you information. Maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's an emotion, maybe it's a memory of an experience, maybe it's an intuition about different ideas altogether. Maybe it's the intuition of different approaches for that idea to work differently. Sometimes you just have to follow your intuition, and you have to trust that the information will come at the right time for you to do what you need to do. And I think that that's what's most difficult to do, is to trust, and then to be present with when the signs come, when the opportunities come, for us to be self-regulated enough, present enough, calm enough, being the observer so that we can see them, and then be courageous to take action and follow our intuition and our excitement. So it soothes me what you say. Yes, this is important. It is a mystery. Yeah. Yeah, and as always, the more specific example that you have, the more specific information you are going to receive. That's why it's so important to really pick something very concrete and get started there. And then try to create these containers of time and attention and presence for the things that you are trying to do that maybe are not flowing yet. And then be fully present with that, and then let it go. And then be fully present with that, and then let it go. And then when you are feeling yourself stuck or that you are procrastinating, allow yourself to sit in silence for a few minutes with that intention in mind. I am sitting here in silence because I want to learn more about this specific situation that's happening. And you just sit in silence. I like sitting in silence. Sometimes I stand up and I pretend to hold a ball. This is like a Tai Chi posture, I think it is. Sometimes doing yin yoga and holding poses and stretching helps. There are so many different activities that you can do to try and tap into intuition, into your higher self, into receiving more information about a specific thing. So just find the one that works for you. Sometimes it's a walk in nature, but it's very important to have that specific intention, okay? If you just go and walk and that's it, you are not really creating a specific intention. Remember, from a quantum perspective, for something to collapse into existence, there has to be an observer, okay? So that observer is you with your intention, is you with your goal in mind, is you with your attention to say, I want this. I want clarity about this. I want to move forward to this. So procrastination sometimes is you not being clear enough, so that you just can't take action because you are not clear enough. And the universe is kind of waiting for you to become clear so that it can give you information and synchronistically events and signs for you to move forward. But you have to show up. You have to show up in the form of, from all the ideas, you have to collapse it and you have to focus your attention for a specific amount of time with enough clarity and to really explain. Like, honestly, what I do when I try to manifest something and get out of procrastination is like, universe, I am trying to do this. By me doing this, it's going to be beneficial for myself because of this. It's going to be beneficial for all these people because of this. And I'm going to make the planet a better place because of this and this and this. And these are the reasons why I'm trying to do this. So I try to explain as much as I can, and that helps me gain clarity. And when I feel that way, I will be able to push, to take action, to uncover these emotional kind of fears that I may be having, and then to kind of process them differently and move through them at the pace that feels good to me. So maybe the procrastination in some areas still exists, but it is not preventing me to fully move forward. It is still allowing me to, okay, I move one step and then I feel blocked, but I know I'm in the right direction. So I'm going to meditate. I'm going to try and figure out why is this happening. And I'm going to take another little step. And then I'm going to take another little step. And then slowly I will make progress if that is my true direction. Maybe I discover through that journey, like, you know what? I don't want to do this. I thought I should, but I don't want to. It's not exciting. So I will just let it go and then clear that energy, complete that cycle, okay? And then move into something different. And that also helps with procrastination. When you decide not to do something, let it go. You don't have to hold on to it, because that is an energetic loop that is not closed and it's going to be ghosting you. And the more things you have unfinished, the more energy cycles you're going to have ghosting you and creating chaos in your energetic field. So it's going to be more difficult for you to see, to connect, to take action because there is so much noise happening that is kind of influencing you. Yeah, trusting that is definitely the most difficult to do for me. Yeah, so David, so this is a really good piece of information for you, right? So why do you have such a hard time trusting? Is that a belief system? Is that a limitation? Is that a belief that you're not good enough, that you will not figure it out? That what is it? Just be curious and try to uncover what that is for you, and then question it, and then try to like get it out of your system so that you can create a different definition that doesn't create that fear or doesn't creates more trust. And that's why sometimes it's important to take some action, because I promise you, when you start taking action in the things that are exciting for you, as soon as you start seeing a little bit of momentum, that is going to help you a lot with your trust and with your confidence. It's like, wow, like I only did a couple of steps and I am seeing something happening. There is some sort of activation, energetic activation happening. So be grateful for that and use that as information that is telling you, hey, there is something here for you. So just keep doing, keep trusting. And yeah, take small steps, one step at a time. Because Abby, I love that. Take one small step. What is the next available step in an idea that you feel you have to do? Just take it. Because that's a way for you to show up. That's a way for you to show the universe and show yourself, like, I am committed to doing this. And I trust that I am going to be doing it. And I don't have to have all the information right now. Because trying to have all the information and trying to understand all the process is another big reason of procrastination. And it's another big reason of feeling overwhelmed. When we are trying to mentally try to create a master plan about something and how it needs to happen, we are energetically collapsing and we are not allowing the universe to do its part. We are not allowing our higher self from that energetic field, from that our energetic body, to do the things that they can do that I cannot do with my mind. And this is an example of your higher self is on the top of the mountain, and then you are walking through the forest. And then who do you think is going to have a better view of where you should go, right? So the job of your higher self is to direct you, to guide you. Hey, I see a river. Hey, I see a cliff. Hey, I see a bridge over there. If you turn right now, you're going to find this tree, and then you're going to be able to go that way, and it's going to save you time. But if you are trying to do that from the forest, that you only see trees around you, you just won't be able to. So your job is to keep showing up one step at a time, and your energetic work, the work of your higher self and the universe and all your guides, is to really guide you in the best possible way. So once you make a choice, once you make a decision, then you let it go, because you are not supposed to know the how. You just have to walk the step by step and trust that the next step will appear when it's necessary for you to take it. And then trust that your energetic self, your higher self, will know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and it will send you information through intuition, synchronicities, possibilities that show up in your life that before they were not there. And everything is going to be a result of you becoming more clear and deciding something concrete. So this is a very important piece about procrastination. Okay? So the nervous system perceives threat or overload when it's feeling procrastinated. Maybe the task that you are trying to do is out of alignment with your values, right? Sometimes there is an unconscious no underneath a conscious yes. And this is what I was talking about, a part of you that is trying to protect yourself. So a part of you is trying to say yes to this. I want this. This is good for me. And a part of you that is wounded, maybe afraid, maybe feeling overwhelmed, may not trust, may believe that you're not good enough because when you were little, something happened and someone told you that you are not good enough for do anything in your life. And that was created, a belief that you are not good enough. So that's another example of becoming curious to heal that part of yourself, to have a conversation with it, so that you can clear that energy and you can bring that part of you back and you can reintegrate it with yourself. And this is what internal family systems approach is really powerful for. Sometimes it's inner child work. Sometimes it's there are so many different modalities that you can use to try and do that work. But that unconscious sometimes that's what's making you procrastinate. And you need to become that unconscious conscious, be present with it, and then try to find a way to realign, to clear that energy, to reframe that energy, to change that belief system that you created, because clearly it's not aligned with you anymore. It's not truth. So is the avoidance part of procrastinating? Yeah, Lorette. So I would say that avoiding something and procrastinating something sometimes is similar. Okay? I don't think it's the exact same thing, but sometimes you are avoiding something because of the same reasons. It's too much, it's unsafe. You believe that there is something there that if you were to do that, is going to be bad for you in some way. And I'm sure there are many unconscious reasons why you may be sabotaging yourself or doubting yourself. And the work is to really use that information to uncover those parts of you, to uncover those beliefs, so that you can move forward differently. Not being attached to outcomes and being kind to yourself, I have found, is key to moving energy. Yeah, that's so true. Really being kind to yourself, not being attached to something, just trusting that's a part of trust, right? When you are attached to something, a part of you is not trusting. A part of you is not feeling safe. A part of you believes that if you let go, it's gonna be really bad and you're gonna be alone and nobody's gonna love you, etc., etc. So that's why we many times try to control things, because that control is coming from that emotional part of you that is craving for something, right? So that's why when you can learn to let go, when you can learn to take inspired action when it's the time and let go when it's not the time, when you can trust that whatever I need to do is going to be clear enough to me for me to know when I have to do it, and when it's the time I will go for it 100% with no confusion. But if it's not, it's not. So there are, and then having fun and making it exciting and enjoyable. That also a very good way of moving the energy. When you are having fun, when you are being curious, when you are being neutral, you are not being attached to either kind of polarity of a situation. That's when energy kind of tends to move easier through you. And that's when you can do that work of being curious, being the observer, and transmute things. Yeah. We believe we can control the outcome. Yeah, we believe we can, but we cannot. We cannot. So some of the core quantum reasons why we procrastinate, yes, from a quantum, it's an energetic misalignment. I talk about that you are trying to act from obligation instead of resonance. The task doesn't match your current energetic state. We talk about that, like really understanding where are you at and what kind of task suits you best in that moment. And then part of you doesn't believe this is yours to do. Sometimes we are doing things that we have the feeling that I am not supposed to be doing this, but we don't honor that feeling. We don't delegate, we don't ask for help, we don't say no, and then we just keep doing something that most likely is just too overdue for us to stop doing. And we are all guilty of that, okay? So it's very easy to talk about these things, but then when you are in the nitty-gritty of the experience, that's when the actual work shows up, and that's where it just takes more energy, more remembering these things, being self-regulated. It's just practice. Okay? Also, nervous system dysregulation. You guys were talking about this, right? When you are feeling overwhelmed, your nervous system is overloaded with energy. And many times that overwhelm, just think about it. If you are trying to do something and there are a lot of things, energetically speaking, demanding your attention, of course your energetic field is collapsed, it's overwhelmed, because there is so much energy from so many different places, and there is lack of clarity. And the universe is infinitely abundant. From a quantum perspective, it's infinite amounts of possibility in the present moment exist. So if you are not being clear, what's happening is that you are being too broad, and you are letting in thousands of things that maybe are not aligned with you. And that's why you feel like, whoa, I don't know what to do with all of this. And the truth is, you don't have to do anything with all of this. You just have to synchronize with what you want and ignore the rest, because everything is going to be there no matter what you do anyways. So you just have to consciously avoid those things, ignore those things, and focus on the experience that you want in every moment. That's what alignment means, right? You are getting aligned with what you want, and then you kind of come back, and then you get aligned with what you want, and then you can come back. It's a process. Yeah, perfectionism is a freeze response sometimes. Anxiety, trying to control, all those things are, from a nervous system perspective, it's gonna make you kind of ADHD tendencies, seeking stimulation to regulate the energy. So for those of you who have the tendency of getting distracted very easily, from a quantum perspective, you are just connecting with so many different realities and possibilities. And it's very exhausting to be able to be here, right? So from a quantum perspective, it's like, procrastination becomes self-soothing. When that happens, you are just kind of like procrastinating things so that you can come back to yourself. It's kind of creating a pause, becoming the observer. You procrastinate so that you can come back, you can regroup, you can regulate, and then from that place, you look at things again, and then you hopefully are more grounded, have more clarity, and then can make an intentional choice, and then procrastination hopefully won't happen as strongly. Yeah, it says action flows naturally when energy is coherent. So being coherent means that the energy is coherent, it's harmonious, everything is kind of resonant, and there is no noise. So that's when we are normally in the flow. But many times we are not in the flow because we ourselves create lots of noise through our emotions, through our belief systems, through our fears, through our past experiences that are kind of impacting us, what we believe is going to happen if we were to do that thing, and the negative impact that may have. There are so many things that are going to create lots of noise, and that noise is going to make our energetic field very not coherent, not harmonious. It's going to be very... And that's when we are feeling overwhelmed. That's when we are feeling anxious. That's when we are going to procrastinate more likely, because we are not centered, we are not grounded. I went through a similar experience, David. So David says, I'm trying to climb out of career burnout by starting my own business. I have taken many steps to do this, but I keep putting off launching. I continually procrastinate, and you unsure why. Yeah, David, as a small business owner, I really understand what you're going through, and be curious about it. Sometimes the procrastination, believe it or not, comes from you becoming successful and what that will mean. And sometimes becoming successful is what makes us be afraid. So there is always a reason why, and most likely for you now it is unconscious, but there is always a reason why there is this unconscious no that is making you procrastinate. And your job is to try and be curious enough to kind of make it conscious, become aware of what's happening. What do I believe is going to happen if I were to launch my business? What is the worst that can happen if you launch your business? What happens if your business fails? What happens if your business is a success? What happens? So just run through all the possible kind of scenarios, and then really check in with yourself, like, what's the worst that can happen? What am I afraid of can happen if I were to launch my business and it becomes successful? What can happen? Because for me, sometimes that is, wow, if my business becomes bigger, I don't want to have to hire people. I don't want to have an office. I don't want to have to manage things. And that's a true motive for me to procrastinate, because deep down, that's not exciting for me. That's not aligned with me. So then you learn, okay, I'm going to make a different decision. I'm going to create a different structure. Now with this clarity, I understand what kind of a business I want to create and what makes me feel good and aligned. I'm not going to do something because that's the norm. So these are some examples of points of view for you to start the journey of curiosity and see if you can find the reasons. Yeah, so I have a couple of notes here about the law of attraction and procrastination, right? That's another nice way of looking at it, the law of attraction, right? The idea that we attract what we are, what our energy is. So it says you attract experiences that match your energetic state. Okay? If your energy is fear, avoidance, or obligation, stack loops repeat, because you're going to keep attracting that, right? Your job is not to force action. Your job is to become the energy of clarity, readiness, and trust. So that's why it's so important from a quantum perspective. Everything starts inside of you. So you don't have to do anything outside yet. You have to start with you. You have to start with your energy. You have to start feeling grounded. You have to start becoming clear about what is it that you want and telling the universe with your energy, with your emotion, what you want to feel. And then that is going to, by resonance, going to align and resonate with experiences that are similar to that energy that you are embodying in the present moment. So what is it that you want? How do you want to feel? Think about that. What is the feeling that you want? And then feel that now. And then from that place, you are going to start having ideas, intuitions, when you start focusing your energy into and your attention. Okay, this is how I feel. How does my business look like from here? How does my relationships look like from here? How does my work look like from here? How does my home looks like from here? And then it starts inside of you first. That's why it's so important to do this inner invisible work before you take action in the physical world. Very important. Yeah, so your role, it's clarity. So clarify your intention, align your energy, and then take the next resonant step. But you don't take the step now. You first clarify your intention, and then you align your energy, do whatever you need to do to get aligned, and then take the next resonant step when it shows up. Yeah? And then the universe is gonna show you it's gonna provide the timing, it's going to reveal the path for you to follow, and it's going to organize the how. How many of you can believe that? I'm just curious. How many of you can believe that your job is not how things happen? Because I had a really hard time with that. I was always like, wait. So I am not responsible in how to make this happen? That doesn't make any sense. And over the years, I have learned that it is true. I am not responsible for how it happens. I just have to show up. But I'm curious to know if you believe that your job is not the how. Just please share in the chat. I'm curious to know. So what is the role of intuition and excitement? Right? So follow the highest excitement available now. Let go of attachment to outcomes. Stop waiting for certainty. Clarity comes through movement. Okay, so the clarity comes through movement. If you are not doing anything because you are waiting for certainty, from a quantum perspective, it's not going to happen because you are not responsible for the how it happens. You are not going to do all the steps. You have to just walk them. Yeah, and procrastination often disappears when excitement is restored. And another question for you: how many of you procrastinate when you are doing something exciting? How many of you? So, that is too exciting and fun. I'm not going to do that. I'll do it tomorrow. So just think about that. What if we start doing what we are excited about more often? So I can't believe it, but I keep forgetting it. Yeah, Anita, me too. So many times I forget it. It's like, oh, it's not my job. Why am I trying to do this job when it's not mine? Um, yeah, I've heard a lot. I've done probably too much analyzation. I've learned a lot in my 177 days on Inside Timer. Sounds like I need now to loosen my grip and ask the universe for next steps. Yeah, David, you are not responsible for the how, right? So ask the universe for next steps. What if he gives you a road map that you can follow? Hi everyone. One might say that I procrastinate arriving here. Madeleine, welcome. A few minutes left of the session, but you can listen to the recording after on my podcast if you want. Okay. Yeah, and I forgot to mention that I do have a course about procrastination that is not from a quantum perspective, but it has a lot of really great information that can help you get started. But this quantum lens really adds a lot of depth and lots of very interesting things that hopefully are going to help you discover the reasons why you may procrastinate. Yeah, so we have a few minutes left before we have to go. I think I'm procrastinating on that course. Beta, maybe it's not exciting for you to do it right now, and that's okay too. So just wondering if you guys have any questions before we go. Yeah, and then some checking questions also for you to ask to help you in this discovery kind of journey about procrastination that hopefully may help you. So you can ask yourself things like, what part of me doesn't want to do this? Okay, and dividing yourself in different parts is very helpful because all of a sudden you are not self-criticizing yourself as a whole. You are just talking with a specific part of you that may be afraid or maybe resentful or maybe whatever. So separating and you having a conversation with those parts of you can be very, very healthy actually. So what part of me doesn't want to do this? What am I afraid will happen if I succeed? What am I protecting myself from? Is this truly mine? Or am I doing it for approval? People pleasing, hello, that's me so many times. I forget that I can say no. What will the aligned version of this task look like? That's a very good one, okay? Because sometimes the task is okay, but how we are trying to do it is not resonant with us. So asking yourself, what would the aligned version of this task look like for me to be able to take action on? So yeah, so a few questions for you guys to really get curious. What's the name of your podcast? Your Thriving Lifestyle. And you can find it very easily. Overwhelmed on lots of courses. I really like the movement to gain clarity. That's great motivation. Thanks, Emilio. Yeah, Peta. So what's coming up for me, because I feel the same way too sometimes, trying to choose a course that I want to do next, or information I want to consume next, or a book I want to read next. And sometimes I have a few options. So I try to go through the options and I try to really take a couple of deep breaths and then really pay attention not to my intellectual, but to my excitement and feeling and emotion. And sometimes I can sense a difference. And there is something for me that is calling me to a specific resource or book or podcast. And I try to honor that. And I don't ignore the rest. I just put it on pause. I may have it on my to-do list. I may have it downloaded on my podcast. And then depending how I feel and the moment, I will choose to do one or the other. Sometimes I have different things going at the same time, but sometimes of the day I feel like doing this, and sometimes of the day I feel like doing this. So I try to really honor my energy in that way, because sometimes I may have the capacity to do something that is very emotional, and sometimes I just want something that is lighter. And sometimes I want to do something that is more practice-wise, sitting down, closing my eyes, and practicing something. So depending on the energy that you are experiencing, that can help you kind of create those windows of time where you can be intentional. And that will be more exciting for you, and hopefully you won't procrastinate because you will do what feels good in every moment, and you are still making progress. And remember, you are not supposed to start and finish a course from beginning to end perfectly. Maybe the universe has a different plan for you, and maybe the universe is guiding you to go to here because there is a piece of information that you need, and once you receive it, you are done with that and you move to the next one, and sometimes you will do the whole thing. So it's a journey of really keep checking in with yourself. Okay, that's what I've been wondering. What part of me doesn't want to move forward? Yeah, so David, ask yourself that question, right? What part of you doesn't want to move forward? And what are the reasons why? Majority of the times you are afraid of something. So ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And then just really ask, is this really true? Is this really gonna happen, or is just in my mind? So yeah, amazing. So guys, thank you so much for being here as always. I hope that you guys got information and good practices and questions and good seeds for you to keep moving forward in your journey of realigning yourself and discovering why procrastination exists sometimes in your life. And remember that procrastination is not something that you are, it's a choice that you are making. Okay? It's a choice that you are making. So many times it's unconscious, but it is always a choice that you are making, and you can always make a different one by bringing these unconscious no's, these unconscious reasons to the consciousness, and being present with them. You can then make a different choice, a choice that is more exciting, a choice that is more aligned, a choice that motivates you more. And that is the journey of discovering about procrastination. How can you do this in a way that feels good to you? Okay? Amazing. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you can join next week for another session on Friday. And in the meantime, remember that I have a podcast that you can listen to. It's called Your Thriving Lifestyle. And I also offer one-on-one sessions. I have 3 journeys that you can choose. There's a self-guided one, the guided, and the deep support one. And they have a combination of video calls with WhatsApp accountability and access to my library of courses. Some of them are on Insight Timer and some other ones are on my website. So yeah, remember that you are not alone, that there is also this beautiful community here. And I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your week. And I will see you next week if you can make it. Okay? Adios.